You ever feel really down so you decide to binge read the FNAF novels? No? Just me? Okay. Hello, silly people on the internet! Today I'm gonna be explaining the first Five Nights at Freddy's novel called The Silver Eyes. So let's get into it. The novel starts by introducing us to Charlie. She's fatherless. And brotherless. Now, don't click off yet, it's a key part of the story, I had to mention it. Her dad is Henry, a big robot guy. And he has a friend that's also a big robot guy. And also really purple. And into murdering kids. But we'll get into that. They both owned a restaurant called Freddy's Family Diner. Until someone in a yellow bunny suit came and snatched Charlie's brother, Sammy. I wonder who that could be. Henry then takes his family and moves to a town called Hurricane. Charlie's mom then leaves them, probably because of Sammy's death or something, I don't know. And Henry tries to cheer Charlie up by building her little robot friends. And it somehow actually works and they don't really talk about Sammy anymore. Mostly because it hurts too much for them to remember. But anyway, Henry then proceeds to get into the capitalist mindset, so he and his murderous business partner start up a new restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And things went fine and they proceeded to get lots of money and they all lived happily ever after. Just kidding. 3 years later, William started murdering kids again. And one of the kids was Charlie's friend Michael. Keep him in mind because he plays a pretty big role in the story. Also, quick thing, during this time back in Charlie's house, an endoskeleton started moving on its own before Henry came and shut it down, and later on this endo becomes Foxy. And during this time Henry also dies, and this guy, Clay, who is the dad of another guy named Carlton, is investigating the murders of the kids, and they suspected Henry, but Clay delayed his arrest and also searched William's house, but they didn't find enough evidence to get him arrested and he apparently left town. Anyway, I've yapped for long enough, let's get into the main story. Charlie is driving back to Hurricane to have lunch with their friends, and the only person who still lives in Hurricane is apparently Carlton. The other ones moved on, but either way, they start yapping and eventually get to talking about Freddy's, and they all decide to go back there to see if there's anything left of it. Spoiler, there is. They get there and it's a construction site of a mall. They then find some gravel and manage to climb inside and almost get spotted by a security guard, but eventually they find a really interesting wall. And after they move a metal shelf, they find a hidden door to Freddy's. And after they spend some time inside getting high on nostalgia, they eventually decide to go back to their motel room. A day later, two people and a kid pop up and they all go to a school ceremony in memory of Michael. But not long after that, one of the people, Marla, suggests that they go back to Freddy's because she wants to be a nostalgia junkie too or something. But before they go, Charlie goes to her old house with this one random named John that also plays the role of a romantic interest for Charlie in the story. But that's kind of boring, so let's skip to when they get there. This time, as they sneak into the mall, the kid gets spotted by the security guard, but he just walks off without saying anything. I don't know, man, the security guard is kind of a weirdo. But either way, this time when they get inside Freddy's, they manage to find a control room, and they then proceed to turn on the power inside the whole thing, so the animatronics start moving again. The room also had some monitor system, but they couldn't see in all of the rooms, so they began looking for another control room. And somehow they do manage to find it, and it also has some controls for Foxy. Then Jason, the kid I was mentioning earlier, has a schizo moment, seeing a drawing change the moment he looks away. But that's not even that important. Let's talk about the real important stuff, like how Charlie and John started playing hide and seek! And Charlie hid in Foxy's cove and she gets injured by Foxy and they all leave. Great experience, honestly, would definitely come back again. A day later, Charlie talks to John some more and they both drive away to another town to check out the restaurant where Sammy got taken. You know, Fredbear's Family Diner. If that doesn't sound familiar, then you're not listening! Stop watching Brain Rot and fix your fucking dopamine! Jingle jingle. When they get back to Hurricane, the group decides that they want to go back to Freddy's, but this time, they actually walk right into the security guard and we learn his name is Dave. And he's weird. They then invite Dave to explore Freddy's with them, mostly as a last resort so they don't get kicked out of the mall, but it works, cause he agrees. They then get to the control room and Dave manages to make the animatronics dance perfectly. Well, it's almost like this guy has been here before, that's crazy! Oh, the animatronics started tweaking. And now Dave is gone. Great. Everyone then splits up to search for him and Dave goes to the security office and pulls out a yellow bunny suit from one of the lockers. Who could have seen that coming? Jason then sees him, so he tries to tell the others but they don't believe him, so he goes off on his own and he finds Carlton. Never mind. Jason then runs back to tell the others and they finally realize something's up, so they run out to get help. And they find a cop. The cop doesn't really believe them though, but because Carlton has special privileges, His dad's a cop. He decides to call up his dad. Clay, Carlton's dad, that gets there and drives all the people to his house, where he just thinks Carlton is playing a prank on him. Yeah, let's see how funny this prank is once your son gets put into a spring-lock suit. Wait, is that foreshadowing? Either way, after Clay gets scolded by his wife, he eventually sends the same cop back to check out Freddy, and he's dead. Charlie and John then go and check out her old house to look for clues on who this mysterious yellow rabbit could be, and they eventually find a newspaper with her dad and another odd-looking fella on it. But they get interrupted because Marla pops in screaming about how Jason went back to Freddy's. Inside Freddy's, apparently Dave put Carlton into a spring-lock suit, and after Dave leaves, Carlton has a schizo moment and starts talking to Michael. Yeah, the dead Michael. He's apparently in a yellow Freddy suit now. Oh wait, I forgot about the group. They eventually manage to get inside Freddy's and find Jason hiding in one of the control rooms. And Charlie sees Carlton through one of the security cameras, so she leaves to go get him. But then Bonnie started having beef with her, so she had to go under bathroom stalls to avoid him. Eventually though, she does find Carlton, and she's probably the best person who could have found him because she already had experience with spring locks thanks to her dad, so there was a really low chance of Carlton getting spring locked. Carlton then schizo-rants a bit, Dave pops up, Charlie bonks him, they try not to get hurt by the animatronics, and once daytime comes, they interrogate Dave. But he's pretty unresponsive when he's not in his fursuit. But once they put on his fursuit, he starts schizo-ranting about how the other animatronics are gonna kill them because they're adults and how he's safe in his suit, and yap. Skipping to Clay, he's now looking through a file on William Afton and does some background checks, and he sees that Dave is just William Afton but slimmer. Who would have thought? Oh wait, let's go back to Freddy's. What the fuck happened here? Apparently Dave locked the others out of the security office, but Bonnie was still in the office with him, so he's probably screwed. Then the others almost get killed by the rest of the animatronics until Michael pops up and saves the day. Clay then breaks into the pizzeria and saves everyone. Never mind, David's trying to kill Charlie. Charlie manages to trigger the spring locks on his suit though, so Dave kinda became a bloody mess. And then the animatronics drag his body away. But it all ends happily because Charlie goes to her dad's and brother's grave with John, and the story ends with a nice memory of them. Thanks for watching, goobers. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. That'll help me out a ton. And this is the first time I'm trying to do a video. Did I say that right? Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing a video like this. So if you like it, tell me in the comments. I might do more. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. And as always, stay safe and stay silly. Clay, Carlton's dad. Clay, Carlton's dad. Carlton, oh my god.